Farhan Akhtar, welcome to NDTV. I can imagine what a tough day it's been for you and emotional turmoil, especially from the way Farhan I see it. You're an extremely fortunate and a lucky person to have played Milkha Singh ji's role. I'm sorry for this huge loss. Uh, Today when you think about him, what stays with you?
Rohit, firstly, I'd just like to, again, just via your channel, just send my deepest condolences again to his family, to his children in particular. It is a huge loss. I mean, of course, losing Milkha ji, and also just 5 days prior to that, losing Mimi auntie as well. So it really has been a very traumatic week for them. And so I send them love and I send them my condolences. Um, I honestly, I'm still, it's still sinking in. It's a little bit tough to accept, tough to believe that Milkha ji is no longer with us. He was such a gigantic figure. He really cast, like you say, like a really long shadow. And we all were very fortunate to have sat under it for a while,
Hmm.
and got to spend time with him, got to spend time with his family, and just to have had those wonderful memories of having made this film together, spent evenings just chatting about things in life, having a laugh together. We traveled together once to London, so it really it's a massive loss, but one that my heart is still not fully willing to accept.
I can totally imagine what it must be like for you. Having traveled with him to London, spent time. We didn't, we, that's up close and personal with him. Could you share some memories? What stayed with you? What was he like? When you spent time with him.
He was a very warm person. He was very large-hearted. He was very down to earth. He loved a good laugh.
Hmm.
He loved talking to people. He loved um, finding out their stories. And that to me was such an amazing thing to see when I first met him. I mean, we've all grown up with the name Milkha Singh.
Hmm.
When we were in school and we were slacking off on our PT classes and not doing what the our teacher who was Punjabi as well. The name Milkha Singh would always be used,
Right.
as inspiration. And so I you have this image of somebody who's like this really legendary sportsman, of course, but also very like kind of disciplined. And I thought he'd be very army like, when I met him. But when I met him, he was so easy and so gentle and so affable and such a warm personality. And I remember we were on a training ground here in Mumbai, and that's the first time we met, and he came when I was training for the film, and we did a 400-meter lap together. And there were all these young athletes, who are like now who at that time, now 10 years ago, were probably in their early 20s or maybe late teens, just adults. And for them to know his name, and when he came in, they all went up to him, and there was this buzz around the ground that Milkha Singh is coming, Milkha Singh is coming.
Right.
And all these athletes went up to him, they touched his feet, and he took time out for each and every one of them. Although he was there for about half an hour, 40 minutes to kind of speak to the team that was putting this film together and to kind of educate us on his training and on his running style and how he approached it. But I mean, that time was really given to all those young athletes who wanted like a little time, little attention from him. And he happily gave it to them, asked them, what discipline do you do? And gave them tips on training and gave them little inspirational, little talk here. And it was just so amazing to see that he was so grounded. And that aspect of him to me was the most special. That no matter where we went and no matter what crowd he was with, if somebody wanted some time with him, no matter what he was doing, he always made time for them and made them feel special in the time that they had with him.
What a
And
beautiful
that's what.
story. What a beautiful story. Thank you for sharing that with our
No,
viewers.
most.
Farhan, you were going to play him. One can imagine what must be crossing his mind. What did he tell you when you all started talking and when you all met? What did he tell you to keep in mind while you were playing his role?
The only thing he told me, which I mean, I've heard him say to many people, so it really wasn't only about this role,
Okay.
was just, I mean, if you're doing something and you want to do it well, you have to work harder than anyone else. That's the only mantra for success. And that's all I did. I mean, he told me to work hard because, and that's how he became who he was. I mean, he wouldn't have been Milkha Singh if he hadn't worked harder than everybody else who
Right.
was competing at the time. And that's all it was. It was just as simple as that. So whatever it took, I mean, eventually it didn't feel like hard work because it was we were driven by an inspiration of another kind. But that's what it was. He was like, the only thing he would tell me is like, I hope you're working hard. I hope you're working hard. And I was like, yes sir, I'm doing the best I can
Right.
and working as hard as I
And you
possibly
did
can.
work very hard and did it so convincingly. And he's the one who said that, Farhan. He said, I've cried three times in my life. One was when he lost the Olympic, and second time he said was when he saw the film. How important was it for all you guys who were making this film to get his endorsement and him liking this film?
It's of absolute importance. We are representing his life. So it's not per se, I can't speak about just performance. I think the story is what mattered, and how he's represented, what is his message. I think that's what was important in the film. And at the end of it all, he did feel that this film would inspire the young generation. He did feel that this film would inspire people to be more active in sport, to take sport seriously, and even for existing athletes to kind of dig their heels in deeper to try
Right.
and achieve even higher heights. And that's what he wanted from this film. And I feel that when he watched the film, he did feel that to a certain extent we had managed to put across this message of his, and that makes me very, very proud.
Yeah,
Once a film is over, you move on to another film and to another film. By any chance, were you in touch with him? When did you last talk to him?
I've been in touch with him and with his family. We wish each other on birthdays, and obviously for the last 2 years because of COVID, it wasn't possible to travel. I had been there just pre-pandemic, maybe like 6 or 7 months before that. Shibani and myself had traveled down to Chandigarh to meet with him, and we had a wonderful breakfast as always. And Auntie ensured that we ate enough for a whole year, so all of that had happened. And yeah, so it's the fondest of memories, and I will absolutely miss them, absolutely miss them. And I feel, I mean, it's just we're all worse off for not having them in our presence, but at the same time blessed that they were here, so it's a strange feeling right now.
I can totally imagine. Thank you so much for sharing all those fond memories with us. Farhan, take care, stay safe. Thank you for talking to NDTV.
Well, thank you.